In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your passenger side CV axle on your Toyota Camry. It's located behind the wheel on the passenger side. Before beginning this job, you can drain your transmission, taking out this plug. You would use a 3/8 Allen wrench socket and loosen that up and drain the fluid. Or you could also just take the CV axle out and let it drain from the transmission itself. That's the way we're going to do it, so we don't lose as much fluid. When you pull out that CV axle, it's not a typical amount. It's not like a little trickle. It is quite a bit of fluid that does come out. You are going to have to replace that fluid at the end of the job. Remove your hubcap using a pry bar. Just get it in there, slowly go around. And once it's unhooked, take it off. Remove your lug nuts using a 21mm socket. Remove your wheel. We're going to remove our caliper as one piece. Make sure you have a hanger ready to go. I have mine on the spring above. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to take out this bolt and this bolt. And do the bottom one first. And we'll do the top. I'm going to hold on to my caliper so it doesn't fall. Remove the bolt, remove your caliper, and hang it up on your hanger. Make sure it's out of the way so you can get to everything else. I'm going to use a lug nut to secure my rotor in and on. That'll just hold it from moving. Now we're going to turn our wheel. Make sure your caliper's out of the way. And we're going to take our tie rod apart. Remove the cotter pin first using some wire cutters. I'm going to bend it back into its original shape. Pull it out on the other end. Pull it out. Using a 19mm, I'm going to take off this nut for the tie rod. Using a sledgehammer, you're going to give it a whack right here, and it's going to release the tie rod. Once it's released, you're going to remove the tie rod from the knuckle and move it over. Using a 10mm and an extension, I'm going to take out this bolt for the ABS sensor. Remove your ABS sensor and set it aside. Maybe by the caliper is a good spot. Remove the clip out of the bracket by pulling up on these two tabs here and on the other side and releasing it. Now we're going to unpin our nut using a punch and a sledgehammer. Now we're going to take this nut off with a 12-point socket, 30mm. Make sure your axle is free and moving. If it is, you're all set. If not, you can tap it with a rubber mallet or put a punch in there, and you can tap it that way as well to free it up. Now we're going to put a wrench on the head side and a 22mm socket on the nut side. The wrench is the same size, 22mm as well. And we're going to take out this top bolt for the strut. Do the same in the bottom one. take out this top bolt first. Push in on the knuckle to take that out. Remove the bolt, and it should fall a little bit. This is a good test to get your axle going. Make sure you still have your nut on your rotor so it doesn't fall off, because we're going to pull this down and pull out the axle. So push in a little bit to remove this bolt. Now we're going to push our axle through and out and pull this down. Let this hang a little bit and pull your axle out. You can turn the knuckle over and bungee it up on the spring if you feel more comfortable with that. Now we're going to pull this over here, and our CV axle should be towards the front of the car and the knuckle towards the rear, and I'm going to bungee this up to the spring. Using a pair of pliers, we're going to remove this snap ring, squeeze it, and push it forward so that it releases. Using a 14mm socket, we're going to take this bolt out. Before pulling out the CV axle, make sure you have a drip pan below, because you will lose some fluid. Now we're ready to pull it out. And we can remove it. Just keep an eye on your bucket and make sure it's not overfilling. And put this on the ground. We're going to transfer over our snap ring over here. So line up your CV axle so you put it in the right spot, and you're going to use a pry bar. Turn it away from your face. Take it off, and then you're going to slide it on top of the new one. To do that, you're just going to press in, apply pressure, and it should go right on. Make sure you put some transmission fluid on the end that goes into the transmission itself before beginning, like this. Now we're going to go through the wheel well the same way you took it out. And I'm going to guide it through. Make sure you're going through that place where the bearing bracket is and supporting your axle. Slide it through. You are going to have to line up the spline. And feel for when it engages. And that bearing should slide in all the way. On the opposite side of this bearing bracket, you want to make sure that dust shield is all the way through and it doesn't go any further. This one should be flush with the transmission as well. Once you're there, we're going to get our snap ring in place and also our bolt up through that bearing. Using pliers, we're going to squeeze our snap ring and put it inside. Make sure it's secured all the way around on the lip. Now that it's in there, we are going to put our bolt in. Thread it in, tighten it down, and torque it to 24 foot-pounds. Make sure you clean the area. Now we're ready to install the other end inside the knuckle. Let's remove our nut. Set that aside. And now we're going to put this inside the hub. Now we're going to put the axle in the hub. Secure that there. Take off my bungee. Pick up your axle. Move your knuckle and hub into place and slide it in. Make sure it's connected right and engaged. And you're going to push it in. Make sure it's seated right on the back here. Going to feed one of the bolts through. And you're going to do the other one on the bottom. Now we can put our nuts on. Let's put our axle nut on. Now we're going to snug these two up, same way we took them off. Let's torque this to 155 foot-pounds. This one as well. Now let's put our tie rod in. You may have to adjust your wheel a little bit to be able to get it in. Put the nut on. Let's torque this to 36 foot-pounds. See if that cotter pin is going to line up with the hole. Looks pretty good. If it doesn't, you're going to go tighter, not looser, until it lines up. Put your cotter pin through. The long side on the bottom. Fold it down and around. And you can either cut this side off or wrap it around the nut. Now we're going to put our ABS sensor in. Make sure it's clean. And you're going to insert it. Get your bolt. Get that started. And we're going to go about wrist tight. Now we can put our bracket on. We're going to fasten this to the strut like that. Make sure it's in both holes so it's stable. And now we're going to put our caliper back on our rotor. Turn your wheel out. And now you're going to put your caliper on here, so make sure you have a bolt ready to go. Take this off our hanger. Slide this onto the rotor. And you can get your bolt started. You can get the other one started on the top. Torque these to 79 foot-pounds. We're going to tighten up this nut. And we're going to torque it to 217 foot-pounds. I have a pry bar holding my wheel from spinning. My lug nut is holding it in place. I recommend doing the same. Remove your pry bar, remove your lug nut. Now we're going to peen over our nut using a cold chisel and a hammer. It's important you do this so the nut doesn't have an opportunity to back off. And now we can put our wheel back on. Make sure that you check the fluid for your transmission and top it off with whatever the manufacturer recommends. Put your wheel on. Start your lug nuts. Make sure you have the tapered side in. We're going to tighten these in a star-like pattern. I usually put the lower one on the bottom and I walk the rim on. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to torque our lug nuts to 76 foot-pounds. Line up your valve stem with the hubcap and slowly push it on using a rubber mallet. Go around the perimeter. Now you're going to want to take your vehicle down to your local alignment shop to get it aligned.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.